Hey guys, Alex Raykin here, and today I'm going to talk about how to avoid guitar playing related injuries and how to sustain a healthy guitar playing career for life. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I'd like to discuss is what you do before even playing the guitar, and that is stretching. Sometimes we need this more than other times, but this is definitely useful when it's cold outside or in situations where you have a lot of muscle tension. So the first stretch I often do is the forearm stretch, and I basically just put out my arm and I pull it back. And I also pull it back including my thumb and my pinky because those sides of the palm actually need to be stretched as well. I basically hold each stretch for about 3 to 5 breaths. So I just breathe slowly and count my breaths during the process. I do this exact stretch with both hands, and then I move on to stretching the tendons, which is exactly the opposite. So you put your hand facing downward and you pull that down until you feel just a little bit of burn. You should feel this one here at the top of the forearm, and this should help with the tendons, which actually move your fingers during playing. The next stretch, moving up the arm, I would actually stretch my tricep. And this one, you've probably done this in gym class or something like that. Or if you are into fitness, then you do this all the time. I would do this with both arms. Then finally, I'd stretch the shoulders, which look something like this. Whenever you're doing any of these stretches, make sure you hold the stretch and don't bounce like this. So these stretches could be performed during the practice session and even after the practice session. And what I would add to them is these little massages that could be done. So whenever you use your pinky a lot, this side of your palm tends to get tense. So you can actually use your thumb here and press into the side of the palm here to relieve that tension. Also, playing a lot of bar chords and stuff like that, you might get tension in this side of the palm where the thumb is. And you can do this on this side as well. So the next thing that's important to discuss is that while we're sitting, we need to mind our posture and the way that we're sitting. And not minding your posture could bring you lots of problems later on. You might already struggle from some back issues or other issues related to posture. So let's just discuss a way of sitting that is good for playing the guitar. So one thing I suggest avoiding is playing on a chair that has arms, because you are likely to sort of slouch forward or not sit to the front of the chair enough to play guitar on it comfortably, and that will end up ruining your posture. It's good to have some proper back support on your chair and not have any arms, or have arms that basically lift up and go far back enough in order to get out of the way of both of your arms while you're playing the guitar. Avoid playing on couches, beds, and things like that for too long of a period of time. It's okay to jam on them once in a while, but you don't want to have extended practice sessions in those postures. Now I'd like to discuss the height of the chair that you're sitting on. If you're sitting on a chair that's too tall or too short, that'll actually impact your posture as well and make you uncomfortable and make it unsustainable to sit there for hours. You basically want your knee to be at a right angle or a 90-degree angle, the edge of a square, on the leg that the guitar is not on. So such as your left leg if you're right-handed and you're playing on the right leg. As for the leg that the guitar is sitting on, we want to have something under that leg to elevate the guitar a little bit, because you'll find yourself basically getting onto your toes, which is really bad as well, and you don't want to build up tension there. So we want to have a footstool. Here's one I could leave in the description below, and you guys can go ahead and buy that from that link, and it'll help support this channel. Here's one that I made like 12 years ago that still stands. It's a 2x4 that's just nailed together. Can't go wrong. One issue with having your footstool under your right foot, if you're a right-handed guitar player and playing in casual position, is that it actually elevates your arm like this, causing an imbalance in the shoulders and causing your deltoids, your shoulder muscles, to actually tense up, as well as your tricep and bicep. To alleviate this specific issue, a lot of players will play in classical position, where they put their guitar on their left foot and put the footstool under that foot, and their guitar will be in this position where the headstock will be at about eye level, and they'll play in this sort of diagonal position right here. And this is a great position for longer practice sessions. So in order for this position to actually work, the left foot needs to be quite elevated. So that would actually throw off the hips quite a bit, and that could be also a little bit painful with time. Recently I've been using this thing called a guitar pillow. This one's made by Podoko, and I'll leave a link to one in the description below. This is actually very, very cool. So I've been using this during my practice sessions recently. You just put it on your left foot, and your feet can just stay flat on the ground, and you just put your guitar on top of it and it sits beautifully. The next thing I'd like to discuss is the wrist position of your playing hand. So if your wrist is actually not straight, then you can be prone to injury. And in one way it can cause carpal tunnel, and the other way it can cause tendonitis. Both bad. As we play, we want to keep our wrists relatively straight without over bending in this way or in this way. So just keep that in mind as you're performing on the guitar or as you're practicing to sort of fluidly move your arm and wrist around in order to avoid such tension. Having the guitar elevated like this will actually keep your wrist pretty straight. And one thing I show students in order for their fingers to actually play easier on the frets is just to look at their fingers and notice that they're all different lengths. Notice that the pinky is shorter than all the other fingers, right? And so if we put our hand like this and we want like to play with the pinky over here, it doesn't make sense. We want to align the fingers with the frets here. So let's say I'm trying to play something at around the 5th position here. I would actually put my pinky down first, comfortably, where all the joints are bent, and then line up the other fingers behind it and have this as a reference posture. And so even when I'm playing just with the first finger, I have my hand in this position and not in this one. So another thing I'd like to mention is the position of the neck. Now, a lot of looking over the fretboard can actually leave your neck prone to injury, and that can also give you postural problems. So I would encourage you to play in a good position, learn what you need to learn with your eyes at first, and then just be able to feel where you are. In general, you want to be able to play without looking, and so this is something that'll help to avoid postural problems. So when it comes to the fingertips and keeping those healthy, it's important to actually consider how calluses work and not to overwash the hands. That means that, you know, if you're going to stand there and wash dishes for long periods of time, or stay in the shower for a while, to over soften the fingers, and then you start to play the guitar and you have no strength at your fingertips, and then you start to actually create blisters and all those kinds of things. So just avoid wetting the hands for long periods of time if possible, or at least avoid playing directly after these long exposures to water. So finally, we need to consider diminishing returns and the fact that we don't want to sit there and practice for way too long to the point that we injure ourselves, or that we create a situation that the next day or the day after that we have to take a break because we created some kind of issue. All right, guys, so if this video brought you value, go ahead and smash that like button, share it with somebody who you think would need this, and go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one.